Right now at 5, authorities in Oklahoma investigate the injury of an Ottawa County inmate.
Fog and showers continue through the morning, and then we're heading into a beautiful weekend.
Plus, the Arma Fire Chief addresses some community concerns about department programs.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Lindsay Gaffney.
Yes, and it's Friday, finally Friday, January 31st. So the end of a month, but the start of a really nice weekend.
It is going to be a great weekend and even a nice week next week. A little rainy, cooler days. But overall, yeah, I'm really excited about this weekend.
Yes.
We just have to make it through today, one more cooler day and a little bit of fog. So let's go ahead, take a look outside. Right now we can see a little fog out there, downtown Joplin, 20th and Rangeline, even out in Pittsburgh. Now we do have a dense fog advisory for these areas just for the next hour or so, but overall it is a decent morning. Temperatures are in the mid 40s, and then we're looking ahead to having clouds starting to clear out. Now, as you can see, the fog is starting to shift a little bit further south. Currently, Neosho, Anderson, Grove, Miami, even in the Joplin area, seeing a little bit of fog all the way up to Carl Junction. But it is going to start to dissipate here shortly in the next hour and a half, 2 hours, and then it's going to be all clear by about 8 a.m. Now, that dense fog advisory is for Jasper County, further counties south, McDonald, and out in Oklahoma, Arkansas, and just a few counties out in Kansas as well, right along the Oklahoma and Kansas border. That's until 6 a.m., so it's not going to be long-lived. And then we're heading in to see some of these rain showers pushing into our area. Not really going to make it far. Maybe make it as far as Parsons, Chanute, but not quite Pittsburgh, not quite Joplin. If we do, we're going to see just a few isolated showers. But clouds will start to clear midday to early afternoon today as temperatures warm up just slightly. And I'm going to have a full forecast coming up.
All right, Lindsay, thanks. Well, the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation is looking into the injury of an inmate at the Ottawa County Jail. The Sheriff's Department says on January 22nd, a woman was transported to the Miami Integris Hospital by ambulance from her home in Miami for a possible overdose. We're not using the woman's name because she is not charged with a crime. While at the hospital, the woman reportedly became aggressive with medical staff. Miami police officers arrested her on probable cause for battery of a medical professional. The Sheriff's Department says when the woman arrived at the jail, she was unable to walk without assistance due to what appeared to be symptoms of intoxication and at times acted aggressively towards jail staff. Authorities say she was not placed into general population and was kept where jailers could observe her on video. They say she was taken back to the hospital for treatment after striking her head on the floor, then brought back to the jail on January 23rd, where she was placed in a holding cell by herself. Now, they say over the weekend she was watched and nothing appeared to change with her condition. Then on Monday of this week, the woman appeared in court with injuries that included 2 black eyes. Now, in a news release, Sheriff David Dean says, quote, "It was reported to me on Monday that the woman may have been seriously injured while detained in the Ottawa County Jail. My office has begun a preliminary investigation into the matter. At this time, it does not appear that any person assaulted her." Now, at the sheriff's request, the OSBI is investigating this case, and the district attorney's office has dismissed the criminal charges against the woman, saying it does not appear she was able to form a criminal intent at the hospital. Authorities are cleaning up from a train derailment in Columbus, Kansas yesterday afternoon. There are no reports of injuries, and the crash is impacting the railroad crossings on Kansas and High School Avenue. The crossings were blocked for a few hours while they worked to move the cars back onto the tracks. And now you can stay up to date with the latest news, weather, and sports with the KOAM Plus TV streaming app. It's available on Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV Plus, and Roku. The player is also available on our news and weather apps, as well as our website. Watch live streaming. streaming anytime, absolutely free, the KOAM Plus TV streaming app. Well, many people haven't prepared to deal with the impact of an unexpected loss, but there are some things you can do. KOAM spoke to some professionals in Joplin about what you can do to make family life easier and more transparent after you or a family member passes. They say there will be many questions, but being prepared will save time, money, and most importantly, stress.
You have a car, for example. The DMV isn't just going to give your car to your child. They don't know if that's your only child. They want an order from the court, from the probate court, that tells them who they should give that car to.
Always encourage people to have those answers written down somewhere. Start that conversation with your loved ones at any time. It's never too early.
Adamson says having a power of attorney will also make things a lot smoother. The ARMA fire chief is responding to community concerns that the fire department is discontinuing 2 of their firefighter programs. KOAM's Melissa Alexis has more.
My concern there was if we didn't have that, what kind of impact would that have?
Melissa Rhodes, like many other ARMA residents, saw an anonymous Facebook post that said the ARMA Fire Department will be discontinuing 2 of their programs.
They're our first responders in our community, whether they're junior firefighters or firefighters, whether it's a health, it's a heart attack, it's a fire.
The programs in question are the Sleep In program and the Junior Firefighter program.
Have that training ground for them, and that's such a boost for our community, for our school district.
The Junior Firefighter program offers training for young people interested in being a firefighter, and the Sleep In program allows for quick responses to overnight emergencies in ARMA.
Sleeping here, so when calls do come out, it's your responsibility to, head that way.
Our station is basically your home. You can watch TV, work on a computer, and then go to bed at night. And if we get a call in the middle of the night, you get up, or a medical call, you get up in the middle of the night and you go to that call.
The ARMA fire chief responds to claims the program is ending and says both of these programs are not going anywhere.
Living program still is going on. We've got some people that are moving out because they got jobs. So we're still looking for new people.
Rhodes says finding out these programs will stay in place is a relief.
If I had an emergency, if there's something wrong with my 95-year-old mother, I can call 911 and I know that someone from the fire department is going to be there within less than 5 minutes. I know that because that's my experience.
And she says these fire department programs increase safety for the ARMA community.
That's a great security to have, especially for a small rural community.
Reporting in ARMA, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
The fire chief says people interested in either program can come to the ARMA Fire Department to learn more about joining. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Fort Scott and Frontenac High Schools take their battle to the mat. We'll have the details. Plus, 2 NASA astronauts reunite for their first spacewalk in almost 8 months. And we have a chilly and cloudy day today. We'll have what to expect with Lindsay Gaffney in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Last night was the 9th annual Cannonball Clash between Fort Scott and Frontenac High School Wrestling. The winner takes home a traveling trophy. Now we start with the girls. Frontenac comes into Fort Scott looking for an upset. Lady Tigers are ranked 4th in Class 4A. 110 weight class, Fort Scott's Kenna Miles over Ella Blythe Fall. 115 Jerry Smith over Abby Wright Albright. Major decision, 9 more points for Fort Scott. Frontenac trailing 22-0 at this point, and at 120 pounds, Raiders regain some momentum. Mike Courtney takes down Addison. Metcalf wins by fall. Then a 155 pounds. This bout lasted 5.5 minutes, but Frontenac's Mason Mutz wins by fall over Tally Schwab, recovers from a 9-0 deficit. Frontenac girls wrestling comes back to beat Fort Scott 42-40. Over to the boys duel. Fort Scott is celebrating their senior night as they host the Frontenac Raiders. We start at 120 pounds. Chance Wilderman from Frontenac takes 1 minute to win by fall over Lucas, Oregon. Then at 126 pounds, Cruz Pickle wastes no time either. After 58 seconds, he wins by fall over Cullen Oakley. And we move ahead to 175 pounds. A great battle here between Lennox Van and Dominic Riccardi. Van wins by fall, and that gets the crowd fired up. And at 190 pounds, Frontenac senior Alonzo Burke gets the pin on Brody Stoughton and wins by fall. Frontenac boys wrestling beats Fort Scott 45-36. The 6th-ranked Pittsburg State women's basketball was back in action last night as the Gorillas head on the road for an MIAA game against Northeastern State, and they bring an 8-game winning streak with them. Pittsburg State extends its winning streak to 9. The Gorillas take care of Northeastern State 80-62. Macy Mays, Grace Pyle, and Karina Gerber all score double-digit points for PSU. Pitt State holds the Riverhawks to 36% shooting from the field. Amanda Davids' team is back in action at Arkansas Fort Smith on Saturday. Well, the Pitt State men come up short, though, 71-66, the final score. This is a game that the Gorillas led by 14 points at halftime. However, they get outscored 44-25 in the second half, and this goes down as a very disappointing loss. Well, the Missouri Southern Lions are also on the road in MIAA country last night. They traveled to Arkansas Fort Smith, both coming off a loss to Pittsburg State on Saturday. The Missouri Southern women win an instant classic against Arkansas Fort Smith, 103-96 in double overtime. Lion freshman Grace Frazier has maybe her best game yet, and the former Diamond Wildcat scores a career-high 24 points to go with 5 assists and 2 steals. Caitlin Honeycutt leads all scorers with 25 points. Missouri Southern men's basketball, however, falls 73-57 to Arkansas Fort Smith. This one is a bit of a shocker because Arkansas Fort Smith came into last night in last place in the MIAA with just 1 conference victory. Southern shot 36% from the field as a team. And still to come, a new study shows food advertised during football games often contains high levels of sodium. Plus, a check of the 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Well, taking a look downtown Pittsburgh, you can see most of the fog has started to clear. We only had about an hour left of the fog. It was more last night's issue and earlier this morning, but it is still a dense fog advisory until 6 a.m. for a few of our southwestern Missouri counties, southeastern Kansas counties, and Oklahoma and Arkansas. So we are still seeing that dense fog advisory. Now, rain amounts from yesterday, about 2 inches out east of Carthage, near Joplin area, less than 1 inch, and then out in Kansas, less than ½ inch. So not a ton of rain. We do still see another shower moving in, at least for a few of our Kansas counties, but you can see it's already starting to dissipate as it pushes in. Really not going to expect a lot from that, if only a few isolated showers as it pushes in. So taking a look, by about 6:30, starting to make it into the Yates Center area, then continuing to push in. Now, a lot of this is going to be more isolated showers. You might get an isolated shower over here, still out in L County, Yates Center, maybe making it all the way to Parsons, but you can see how much it dissipates by the time it makes it to southeastern Kansas. This is by 9:30 now, and then really just breaks up. Might still see an isolated shower make it all the way to Joplin, Miami, right along the I-44 corridor, but really not expecting a lot more with that. By about 11, all the rain's going to be out of here. Clouds are going to start to push off to the east. Temperatures only warming up to the upper 40s, low 50s, about 48, 49, 50 degrees. Not too warm today, a little bit cooler, and then we're going to see those winds out of the north following this entire system. Now, heading into the weekend, we do see a nice warm up. So today we're getting to about 48, 49, 50 degrees. Tomorrow, 60 degrees. And then Sunday, 65. Now we do have a wind shift line coming through. It's going to drop our temperatures back down to mid to upper 50s on Monday, but we've got a beautiful weekend. Mostly sunny, though we are going to see a few clouds as well. Really warm, 60, 65, increasing clouds on Sunday, but overall it is going to be a really nice weekend. So let's look. After this, our next chance of rain isn't going to be until Tuesday morning. So overcast Monday, Monday evening, a few isolated showers pop up along a warm front moving in on Tuesday. Now warm fronts typically cause those days of just kind of drizzle and overcast. And so that's what we're going to expect Tuesday going into Wednesday. Still a few of those light showers. Those pass, and then our cold front moves through late Wednesday into early Thursday. Then it passes, we're cleared out by Thursday afternoon. So we are seeing still some more rain chances next week. A little bit of a warm up Tuesday into Wednesday because of that warm front. Those days of kind of overcast and drizzle Tuesday into Wednesday. And then that cold front kind of wipes out all the moisture in our area Wednesday into Thursday, clearing us out. Temperatures drop for the weekend, but until then, we're going to have a great weekend. 50 degrees today, 60 Saturday, 65 on Sunday. Overnight lows only getting down to the mid to lower 40s for the next couple of days. So it's going to be fantastic. Now let's look at your forecast. We'll be right back.
Topping Health Watch this morning. The FDA has approved the first new type of pain medication in more than 2 decades, and it's not an opioid. The drug suzetrigine, under the brand name Jornax, is now FDA approved to treat moderate to severe acute pain, which is usually caused by injury, trauma, or surgery. Now, pain is registered in your body through nerve endings, which carry a signal to the brain. Jornax would prevent those pain signaling nerves from firing in the first place. That's different from how opioids work because they just dull the sensation of pain in the brain. Now, doctors also believe there is no risk in people becoming addicted to Jornax because it doesn't create the high that opioids sometimes can. Well, here's a shocker for you. Most food advertised during football games isn't good for you. Now, while that may be news to none, it serves as a good reminder to stay a little salty while watching the Super Bowl. Researchers found about 10% of the commercials during a typical NFL game advertise food. And the median amount of sodium in that food, well, that was just over 900 milligrams, or more than a third of what you're supposed to have in an entire day. The worst offenders were fast food, but experts say a lot of prepared foods you buy at the grocery store also contain high sodium. And health experts from several leading organizations are coming together, urging parents to keep children away from caffeinated beverages. Mandy Gaither has more on new guidelines on what children and teens should and should not drink.
The idea is nothing new. Concern over caffeine and added sugars in drinks has been around for a while, but some of the top health organizations have released new guidelines aimed at helping children and teens be healthier.
The reality is there's a lot of items, a lot of beverages out there, like a lot of things, are promoted as healthy, and there's no evidence that they are.
Dr. Stephen Cook with Nationwide Children's Hospital says the hope is that with these well-known organizations joining together to greenlight new beverage recommendations, it'll make it less confusing and therefore easier for parents to know what to allow and what to avoid.
What are the healthier options? And understanding how we're kind of almost being manipulated to indulge in things that really aren't healthy for us at all.
The guidelines say those ages 5 through 18 should drink plain water and plain pasteurized milk daily, the amount of which depends on factors like age, size, and physical activity. They should avoid drinks with caffeine and other stimulants, sugared beverages, and those with non-sugar sweeteners as well. The experts say to also limit 100% juice, plant-based milk alternatives, unless there's a specific medical reason to drink it, and flavored milk.
We don't want to create a restrictive type of response list, like you never can have this. It's a once in a while type of opportunity. And once in a while isn't one a day per se. Maybe it's once a week or once every other week.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Now, while the total amount of fluids a child should drink varies, on average, the new healthy eating research guidelines say children 5 to 8 should drink about 40 fluid ounces per day. 9 to 13-year-olds need about 61 fluid ounces daily, and those ages 14 to 18 should consume around 88 fluid ounces a day. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Well, for the weekend, we're heading into a really great weekend. Now, today we're only getting up to the low 50s, upper 40s, but Saturday, low 60s, Sunday, mid 60s to even upper 60s in some areas. Overall, really nice increase in clouds as we head into Sunday, but I'm going to have a foliage forecast coming up.
Right now at 5:30, teachers in the Pittsburgh School District receive the gift of grant money.
And after a foggy, rainy start to our day, we're heading into a really beautiful weekend.
Plus, kindergarten kids in Carthage celebrate a milestone in their new school year.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Lindsay Gaffney.
Yes, and it's finally Friday. I'm always happy when it's Friday. I mean, it's like one of the best days of the week for sure.
Even though I'm going back on the weekends, so definitely join over for the weekends, but it's not technically my Friday, but Friday in general is still just like,
it's always good.
It's just a happy day.
Yeah.
I just love it. Especially, all the rain's clearing out, and it just is nice to know like Friday night it's going to be clear skies, really great. But unfortunately, we're starting off the day not so strong. Let's go ahead and take a look outside. We can see still a little bit of fog. It's 32nd range line, 20th and range line out there, and heading out towards Pittsburgh. Now the fog is going to start to lift a little bit later in the next hour or so, but we're still going to have this overcast sky, still going to have a few shower chances all the way through midday to early afternoon today. So heading into just about right now, 5:45, 6 o'clock, we're going to see the fog kind of shifting a little further south, Miami, Welsh, Neosho, Anderson, even still in Carl Junction area. But by 7 a.m., mostly clear skies, and we're heading to pretty nice visibility and by about 9 a.m. Now, dense fog advisory still in effect for another 30 minutes or so for a few of our counties, especially in the south, but it's going to clear really quickly. Now we're heading in to see a few showers pushing in, but likely going to dissipate before they make it to our highly populated areas, Pittsburgh, Joplin. So we're really just going to see mostly overcast skies all the way through the morning, and then temperatures warming up to mid 40s by the noon to 11 a.m. and then even getting into the mid to upper 40s by this evening. So I'm going to have a foliage forecast coming up.
All right, we'll see you soon, Lindsay. Thanks. The list of schools in southern Missouri calling off class because of widespread illness is growing. And districts still in session are seeing fewer students in the classrooms, so keeping students healthy is a top priority. Nixa Public Schools, for example, has what's called a UVC card. Now, it uses ultraviolet light to kill germs and disinfect entire rooms in just 15 to 30 minutes. The light is able to reach places some custodians may not even think to clean. Administrators say the decision to shut down classrooms doesn't come lightly.
Our top priority is the health and safety of our students and our staff, and then our community too. We never make, closing school lightly. We never make this decision lightly. It's a very hard decision for administration to make, but we did feel it necessary to do this.
The schools undergoing deep cleaning hope to resume classes next week. A group of gorillas gathered on the grounds of the 4-H Club building in Columbus, Kansas yesterday evening. The event brought together Pitt State alumni to enjoy some fried chicken, network with other gorillas, and hear an update on the university. Now, the evening also featured Joe Levins, the interim associate dean of the Crossland College of Technology and professor of School of Construction, as the guest speaker.
And I like it. I come to each one that I'm invited to. Cherokee County does their own, as do the other counties, and I like the people. I like to visit. They bring Southeast Kansas chicken.
Pitt State has 6 more gorilla gatherings scheduled until March. And yesterday, the USD 250 Foundation recognized 30 teachers from Pittsburgh's elementary schools, community middle school, and high school with grants totaling more than $28,000. The ceremony took place at Pittsburgh High School in the Collaboration Room at 4 p.m. Foundation President Don McNay and Vice President John Bartlow celebrated the recipients and provided insight into the grant program. Attendees had the opportunity to interview the winners and board members and snap photos. With school dismissal at 3:25, the parking lot was clear for guests to easily arrive. Well, kindergartners at the Columbian Elementary School in Carthage celebrated a milestone yesterday. Staff and students took a look back on their first 100 days of the school year. The celebration featured a variety of fun activities and crafts, all using the number 100.
The kids need to have fun, and this just takes all of our learning and puts it into fun activities, fun things. And I just want the community to see that how hard we've worked and everything that we've done up to this point is getting celebrated with them.
All 5 classrooms took part in yesterday's celebration. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. British pop singer Marianne Faithfull passed away in London at the age of 78 years old. Plus, there are new concerns over the Gaza ceasefire after more hostages were released. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. Topping World Watch, British pop singer Marianne Faithfull, who helped write some of Rolling Stones' biggest hits, is dead. Faithfull's music promotion company, Republic Media, announcing the news yesterday, saying she, quote, passed away peacefully in London. Now, the London-born singer-songwriter rose to fame in her late teenage years, but her addiction to heroin in the late 60s soon forced her into homelessness, living on the streets in her mid-20s. Now, as a muse to the Rolling Stones, Faithfull inspired songs including She Smiled Sweetly and Let's Spend the Night Together. She was closely tied to the band, with her most notable lover being Mick Jagger. The two became one of the most glamorous couples in the 1960s. She was 78 years old. The 2 astronauts who've been stuck aboard the International Space Station for the past several months took their first spacewalk together Thursday. They went outside for the orbiting laboratory for the first time since they moved in almost 8 months ago. Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore removed a broken antenna and wiped the station's exterior for evidence of any microbes that might have escaped through vents. Now, at first, they had trouble unbolting the antenna, but they finally pried it off nearly 4 hours after popping out the hatch. Mission Control urged them to watch for any floating parts from the antenna removal. In the process, Williams set a new spacewalking record for female astronauts. Well, there are new concerns over the stability of the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas after scuffles erupted during the release of Israeli hostages. The chaos led Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to order a delay in the release of Palestinian prisoners. Trey Yanks has the latest from Tel Aviv.
Chaotic crowds scream and jeer as Israeli hostages are paraded through the Gaza Strip. Hamas putting on another propaganda show of force as they handed over 3 Israeli and 5 Thai citizens to the Red Cross. Along the Gaza border, emotional reunions as Agam Berger, Arbel Yahud, and Gadi Moses reunited with loved ones before being flown by helicopter to a hospital in central Israel. Gadi was one of the oldest people taken hostage on October 7th at 79 years old. His partner was accidentally killed by an IDF helicopter during the attack.
The preparation for receiving the returned captives have consisted of building a professional, sensitive and comprehensive medical and psychological supportive system. After the emotional reunions, the returned captives will undergo an initial medical assessment.
His hostages were exchanged for 110 Palestinian prisoners, including a high-level militant who was the former head of the Jenin battalion. With today's release, the number of hostages remaining in Gaza stands at 82. 35 are believed to be dead. The next group of 3 is scheduled to be released on Saturday. President Trump's Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, is in Israel today and visited Hostage Square as the exchange was taking place. Witkoff also visited Gaza and is meeting with top officials, including Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, to discuss phase 2 of the ceasefire deal.
I think it's showing what a wonderful, how joyous the people of Israel are, and all over the world.
Next week, Prime Minister Netanyahu will travel to Washington, D.C., where he'll be the first foreign leader to visit with President Trump since the new administration took office.
And that's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Well, taking a look downtown Pittsburgh, you can still see a little bit of fog out there, but overall it is going to start to lift over the next hour or so. But we do have that dense fog advisory only continuing until about 6 a.m. and that's just for south of Pittsburgh and some of our southern counties. Now, we are watching some more rain showers that are coming in this morning, especially out in the northwest. But as of right now, we've seen about 2 inches out in the east. That's near Carthage area. That's where the most amount of rain was. Now in the Joplin area, less than an inch, so just about 3/4 of an inch. Not too bad out there in Missouri, but on the Kansas side, less than half an inch. That was about the most that we saw out there. So not a ton of rainfall, but again, we are watching this one more shower that's pushing through, starting to dissipate, that we could see it still pop right back up in this area, all the way down to Chanute, down to Pittsburgh possibly, but mostly we're just going to see a little drizzle and just some overcast skies continuing for the next several hours. So if you're heading off to school, off to work in the next hour or so, temperatures are going to be in the mid 40s to lower 40s. Overcast skies, and that's just going to continue. That we are seeing some winds picking up, gusting about 20 miles per hour. Now heading into the afternoon, it's still pretty cloudy out there, but clouds are starting to break. They're starting to shift off to the east. So we're having mostly cloudy skies in the earlier parts of the afternoon. Temperatures reaching just about 50 degrees, if not about 49 degrees. And then we're going to see winds picking up again, gusting 25 miles per hour later in the afternoon. Now, this is the little rain shower that we're watching push in. By the time it hits Yates Center, maybe all the way to Parsons, it's about 7:30. We could see just like a couple of areas out still in the far western counties, Elk County, Chautauqua County, that's going to make it out. But all of this, the lighter green heading towards Pittsburgh, Parsons, that's likely not going to make it to the surface. So we're really only seeing a couple of these isolated showers that are able to really continue to push further south. By about 10 a.m., mostly everything is cleared out. We're looking at all these clouds starting to shift off to the east. Temperatures are warming up to the upper 40s, low 50s. So about 3:30, 4 p.m. you can see on the Kansas, Oklahoma side, starting to see clouds breaking up. Missouri side, still a little cloudy out there. But the weekend is looking fantastic. 60 degrees on Saturday, a little bit windier as well, along with some partly cloudy skies. 65 degrees on Sunday. Not so windy, but increasing clouds towards the evening, but above average temperatures. Normally we're seeing temperatures about 45, 46 degrees for the highs. So we're about 20 degrees warmer this weekend. Now after this weekend, it's when we're going to start to see the next chance of rain. Increasing clouds Monday evening as well. A couple of pop-up showers earlier in the day on Tuesday. Now this is a warm front, starts in the south, works its way up. It's going to continue to push further north. However, we're just going to see this whole long day and into Wednesday of overcast or drizzle. That's typically what we see with a warm front. Not stronger storms or stronger rain, just light drizzle throughout the afternoon and into Wednesday. And then Wednesday evening, we see that cold front develop and push further south by Thursday morning and then clearing out. Friday and next weekend is going to look much nicer, though a little bit cooler. Clouds clear, and then temperatures drop back down to just about average. So until then, 50 degrees today, clouds and rain clear out early this morning. Nice on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 60 degrees, 65 on Sunday. Again, increasing clouds, a little bit cooler on Monday, and then our rain chances return Tuesday through Thursday. But that's Look at Forecast. We'll be right back.
Well, a new horror comedy opening this weekend puts more than one twist on some familiar movie tropes. David Daniel talked with the creator and stars of Companion.
There have been 2 moments in my life when I was happiest. The first was the day I met Josh.
I'm Josh.
I'm Iris. And the second, the day I killed him.
A doting girlfriend discovers she's a robot in Companion.
Iris, wake up. What are you doing? Shut her down already.
What is she talking about, Josh?
Writer-director Drew Hancock says the setup just popped into his head.
Okay, 3 couples go to a cabin in the middle of the woods. One of them finds out they're a robot. Things go crazy.
But the main character in his intended AI Goes Wrong script surprised him.
She's a character with so much empathy and vulnerability, and I feel like I'm always drawn to that.
I started to realize, oh my gosh, I'm actually relating to the robot more than I'm relating to the human characters. And then it just became, can I tell this story, where the most relatable character is actually not human?
Like Sophie said, this is one of the best scripts I've ever read. I love that Josh is the antagonist, but he's a character that thinks he's the hero, which I think is so fascinating to play. I think the best villains are written that way.
Wow, Josh.
Eli, Iris. Shh, baby, you're on the phone. You'd never judge a book by its cover. No one is who they seem, and clearly not in this movie.
I know it's gonna sound cheesy, but the moment we locked eyes, there was just a spark.
In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
The Denver Broncos are trying to help make football safer for the next generation of players in Colorado. The team is donating more than 15,000 helmets to all the high schools in the state. As Olivia Young reports, the helmets are custom fit and come equipped with a special technology.
I'm just glad I'm going to be able to have one to protect my head.
High school football players from every school in Colorado will soon have some new headgear.
It's a huge deal for any program. Most districts are moving away from funding athletics. So to be able to, as a 4A program, get 21 helmets a year for the next 4 years is really incredible, really impactful.
Over 4 years, the Broncos will give out more than 15,000 Riddell Axiom smart helmets.
Every single helmet is equipped with a 5-sensor point technology that is Insight Analytics.
Schools will also get a sideline device and a 4-year subscription to Insight Analytics,
which basically is turned on before practice or a game and will buzz with the player's name that's attached to it if there's an impact that needs to be checked out.
The ability for coaches to monitor where and how hard a helmet is hit enhances work they've already been doing to make plays safer.
I think the sport is as safe as it's ever been, and with the Broncos donating these helmets, it's only going to get safer.
Then this new technology about like the head hitting and make sure no concussions were happening, and that's a big thing. I don't really want to develop CTE and ruin my life.
The number of helmets given to each school will be based on average roster size for their team classification. Once an athlete graduates, their helmet can be refit for another student.
I feel like a collective wow would be in order. It is a little bit hard to wrap your mind around an initiative that will have the kind of impact that this one will have.
The largest philanthropic investment in Broncos history, it's an effort to remove barriers and make play safer for the next generation of Colorado athletes.
Incredible. Stick around. We'll be right back. Well, fans of Buffalo Wild Wings are possibly in for a real treat depending on what happens in the Super Bowl. For the 7th year in a row, Buffalo Wild Wings is offering 6 free boneless or traditional buffalo wings if the Super Bowl goes into overtime. Now, the restaurant chain gave out 2.5 million free wings last year after the Super Bowl between the Kansas City Chiefs and San Francisco 49ers went into overtime. But if this year's game ends up going into overtime, customers won't be able to purchase the wings until February 24th. The offer is only available for people who dine in and in-person takeout only. Well, it's time to snuggle up with a cup of hot chocolate. That's because Friday today is National Hot Chocolate Day. Make some at home or stop by a coffee shop for one. Feel free to top it with whipped cream or marshmallows.
And today is going to be a little bit chillier, upper 40s, low 50s, reaching just about 50 degrees because of the overcast that we're going to see for most of the day. Now, it does clear out mid-afternoon, and we're going to have a sunny and clear skies for the evening, with temperatures only dropping down to the mid to upper 40s. Now, heading into Saturday, 60 degrees for the high, a little bit windier, and It's going to be mostly sunny, though a few clouds as well. Now Sunday, 65. Clouds are starting to increase, and then we have another cool down Monday and into Tuesday before our rain chances really start to kick off. That's a look. We'll be right back.